Hey, deserving listeners, new 90-day fiancé show called Love in Paradise. Let's watch.
I flew to Barbados from Miami to see my boyfriend, Steven. We've been doing a long distance thing for the past 3 years, and it does make me feel insecure because Steven is a DJ and women just throw themselves at him. And he has cheated on me before. You know, I saw you at the show.
I was on your brain.
Oh my God, can I suck your dick? That wasn't her.
So I haven't been reacting much to this situation yet because there wasn't much to say, but now I think there's something to say. This is Martine and Steven. I have a little cheat sheet here from Barbados. Martine is from Miami, I believe. And they've been in a relationship for a while now, and they're now in Barbados. And he's a DJ, and he has cheated on her in the past. So obviously that is going to cause some problem. There was talk with Martine's friends. They were asking her, how are you going to get trust back? You don't trust him. How are you going to get trust back? And she was having a hard time answering that question. And then she said, well, I want to see a big ring on my finger, a really, really big ring. So yeah, that would indicate something if he were to spend a lot of money on a gem that comes from the earth and put it on your finger. That indicates some level of commitment for sure, but I wouldn't think that would eliminate one's worry, because certainly people can cheat when they're engaged or married or whatever. So it seemed to me that Martine doesn't necessarily have a clear path to recovery from the infidelity, which is common. Most people don't. Most people, they have a big blow up, they work it out somehow, and then they just kind of move on without spending all the necessary time to build trust back up again. A lot of things need to happen. He needs to apologize whenever she has an upwelling of fear. She needs to say it in a non-accusatory way. He needs to bond and say that she's normal for having those feelings and apologize for cheating. So instead, I think, of the 10 steps of recovery from infidelity, I think they've gone through 1.5 steps or something. And so they're stuck in this place where she still doesn't trust him, but they don't really have a way of talking about it. And so she lands in Barbados and immediately starts to worry about these other women. Now, his contention is, look, I'm a DJ, women want to come. So there's the infidelity, which concerns her, of course, which makes sense. But she's mostly complaining about these women who will approach him because he's a famous DJ in Barbados. And he's saying, look, it's just part of the job. I'll do, people want pictures with me. I don't want to be with them. It's just part of the job. And, when you're a DJ, people come up to you and want to talk to you. And I don't know if Barbados has tourism trade. I'm guessing it does. And so when people are on vacation, they tend to be a little bit more wild. So, he's probably the target of a lot of different individuals' wildness. And she doesn't like that. And he's saying, I don't know what to do about it. It's part of my job. It's okay. So it's okay that she doesn't like it, but it is probably part of the job, right? It's part of the occupation. But what I think is happening for Martine is that she hasn't recovered from the infidelity, which makes a lot of sense because it takes a long time. Infidelity is really highly destructive to one's trust. But instead of having gone to couples therapy and have some sort of roadmap of recovery, she's having this up. So I'm guessing she lands in Barbados and she is triggered a reminder of how much she loves him and also how much she worries about him cheating on her and leaving her. And so those feelings are coming up. It's whenever you go through a transition like that, when you move or a change of season sometimes, but also, seeing each other for the first time in a while, it will cause a lot of stuff to come up usually. And so I'm guessing a lot of the hurt and the pain and the distrust and the disappointment are coming up. And she doesn't know what to do with those feelings because she doesn't have a roadmap in terms of recovery, which I've never seen anyone have a roadmap, a healthy roadmap to recovery without a couples therapist that specializes in that. Maybe it happens, but I've never seen it anecdotally. So that makes sense. So because she doesn't have a roadmap, she is focusing on this issue of him being a DJ and that he'll talk to women sometimes. So, and now she's focusing on a lot, just random women in Barbados, not even women that he is around.
I saw it. It's in the eyes. And you be entertaining all that shit.
I didn't entertain anything, but I'm an entertainer and I'm approachable.
Too approachable.
No, I'm not too
entertaining.
I'm not too approachable.
So now she is essentially saying when you work, you have to be a jerk face to people and not nice to people. Now, I'm guessing what she would say is he's flirting with these women. Okay, but that's not what you're talking about. He's saying, look, people approach me. Part of my job is to be life of the party. It's not just being a DJ. It's also being an entertainer and being friendly to people, being a host, if you will. And so, yeah, it's unfortunate to see, because when they first saw each other, they were so in love and there's all this warm feeling, and now they're fighting already.
We end up together, and then you're like, yeah, I don't want any more kids. And I don't have any kids, so that's not fair. You know what I'm saying? I would want us both to be on the same page about that.
I'm starting to think Martine came to Barbados with a checklist of life's biggest questions, and she wants to check off one item each day. If that's the case, it's going to be a very long week.
So this relationship is a little confusing to me. Martine came to Barbados to want to get engaged, and now she's talking about having kids, and that makes sense. She wants to be with him. But for him, he seems to be still in this zone of, I thought we were just having fun, and I thought we were happy in a long-term relationship. I thought we were okay. He seems to be okay. I didn't show the conversation, but she wants to get married, get engaged. She is pretty clear about that. And she wants him to come to Miami and live. Or she was thinking, well, maybe I'll just move to Barbados so we can be together. And he isn't really up for any of that conversation. He seems to be avoiding the conversation. But at the same time, he's like, well, I really love being with you, and I like our long-distance relationship. So it's interesting. And he has a child in Barbados, so it'd be really hard for him to be separate from the child, obviously. So I think what I would recommend Martine do in this situation is to say, okay, I've laid my cards on the table. I want to get married. I want to live together. I want to have kids. I'd love to be a stepmom to your daughter. And that's what I want. And I don't want to pressure you, but I kind of want to do that like now. I want to start moving on that now, meaning I want to get engaged now. I want to start talking about moving. I want to start doing all this stuff. But that's what I want. I don't know what you want. What do you want? And then it would give him some space to be able to express what he wants, and then maybe it would take a little bit of dragging it out of him, because I don't think he wants any of those things. At least he's not ready for it. So I think this is an automatic incompatibility that they're going to fight about.
At some point, Sarai would want someone to play with. Right, Sarai? Yeah. Do you want like a little brother or a little sister?
So this is the second time she's done this, and you know me, that triangulating children into these kinds of conversations is not okay. There's a chance that it doesn't cause a problem with the kids, but there's a pretty good chance that it is causing a problem for the daughter. And why would it cause a problem? Well, because the child feels the tension. The child might know, oh, my dad's girlfriend wants to get married, and I want to please her, but my dad, I don't know what he wants. He seems to be on a different thing. Plus, if they get married, does that mean I go to the States and I can't see my mom anymore? It's too much pressure to put on a kid. You do not want to involve them in that.
You don't worry about her hormones. That's a talk you got to have no matter what. You got to talk about it.
We definitely got to deal with it. I'm all for the tourist visa, but the K1 visa is different because you have 90 days to get married. I love Ariana, but we only spend 17 days together. We need to give this relationship time. We need to be realistic.
This is great, actually. We don't usually get to hear from these individuals how they really feel. This is great that Sherlon is just being straight up. He's just like, I don't know if I want to marry her. He didn't say that directly, but that's essentially what he's saying, right? I think maybe I'd want to marry her, but I don't know. We've only been together for 17 days in person, and she got pregnant, and So, you know, she's coming down with her family, and we're getting a chance to get to know each other some more. So maybe, and I'm willing to go to the States to visit, but I don't know about getting married at this point, maybe in the future. Or he didn't really even say that, but I think he's implying that. And that makes total sense. That's very healthy. That's actually very smart. You would want a lot more time than 17 days in person to determine whether or not you're compatible together before, you know, trying to pursue the K-1 visa and getting married and being disappointed. So this is interesting. Now, is he even less motivated to get married than he's even presenting right now? We've seen some evidence of that. That certainly is possible. So maybe we'll find out.
Second chance for change my life, and I try to don't desaprovecharla. I don't know if tomorrow I will be here, so I'm not worried about the future, only try to live the moment.
Interesting. So Kay, she is from, where is she from? Kay, I'm looking at my notes here. She's from Argentina, I believe. And they are in Panama right now. And they met 10 years ago and had a fling in Panama. And then he left and they had their own lives. And then 10 years later, they reconnected. And now he's back and they're exploring their relationship. And for him, he wants to think about the future. He's asking, you know, what's our relation? What does this mean? What does this mean? And for her, she's like, I don't want to think about that. I don't want to talk about that because I have a philosophy that I don't think about the future. I think I live in the moment. And obviously she does think about the future a little bit. She probably stocks up on groceries. She is a personal trainer, so she probably schedules people. But generally speaking, for relationship stuff, it sounds like she wants to live in the moment. She's also talked about how I believe she is leaning towards polyamory, and maybe she's avoiding a conversation with him about that because she doesn't want to be monogamous. I don't know. Or she's just avoiding because she doesn't want to think about it. But she is talking about her drug addiction to ketamine and how difficult it was for her to, and I think she almost died from it, according to her, and that she learned to live in the moment. Now, with some, I don't know if this is true for her, for a lot of people, when they're going through recovery from addiction, they say, you know, one day at a time. And for sometimes it's 1 minute at a time. When you're in early recovery, sometimes it's, you know, don't think 1 day at a time, think 1 minute at a time. I'm going to be sober for this minute. I'm going to be sober for this minute. What am I doing right now? The reason for that is, there's a lot of different reasons, but one of the problems that can lead to addiction is a lot of shame and a lot of negative thinking, a lot of internal voices that are bringing you down. And a lot of that has to do with the future and the past, by the way, and not in the now, of you screwed up in the past and you're going to be a loser in the future. And what about that thing that's coming up? You're going to screw it up. Or what about that thing that's coming up in the future? It's a lot of stress that's on you, you know, and that stress and that shame can result in people having a lot of motivation to escape through substances. And so they'll talk about, you know, living in the moment. And it's just good advice for all of us, right? And if you're really scared of using substances again, you might have an extreme version of that recovery of, I live in the moment right now. I don't think about the future. I don't think about the past, because when I do that, it leads down a road that I don't want to go down. And so maybe she's talking about that.
You call me the next day, and I moved to Buenos Aires.
I was there for Kay 10 years ago in her worst moments, and I want to be there for her now. I'm going to have to be a little bit more cautious bringing up the future with Kay.
Okay. Entiendo.
So it's good. This couple seems to be communicating really well. Thus far, anyway. They seem pretty differentiated and able to speak their mind from the heart without being accusatory. So it's good to see.
Entiendo. Yeah.
I love you, but don't rush me, please. Okay?
That's perfect. So many times I would think, just say something along those lines. As she just said, look, I love you, but please don't rush me. Just straight up, I love you, but please don't rush me. That's great. Very succinct. So many other cast members on 90 Day Fiancé would benefit from her style of communication. All right, well, that does it for that episode. Everyone out there, please take care of yourself because you deserve it. You really, really do.